Welcome, 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 everybody, to Creators Creating, our Wednesday tune-up call. I'm Cory3wing, and I'm here with my co-host, Aubrey Cardon. And it is Wednesday, where we come together to check in with each other about who we're becoming, the choices we're making, creating a life that we love, making the rest of our lives the best of our lives, and the tools that we use to do those things. And so while we're kind of hanging out, giving a few more minutes for a couple other people to find us, what I'd like to do is just kind of pass the feather around and have everybody say hello. Tell us where you are in the world, tell us your name, and maybe a little golden nugget. Kind of keep it short, but also we'd love to hear from you. And Aubrey, I'm going to pass the feather to you first, since you're my co-host.
Hi, I'm Aubrey. I am a quantum architect and healer, and I am doing really well today. I'm excited to spend time with all of you folks and just really excited about the collective and energy and all the things.
Sweet. Susie, I'm passing it to you.
Yeah, hi, I'm Susie. I'm from Canada, in southern part of Ontario at the moment. I know Gina and Aubrey very well. As a matter of fact, I just got this amazing session from them, and as well as with another lady. We're testing out new waters, and it was absolutely, they just blew me away. So anyway, I'm on a high this week from that session still, and I just wanted to share how amazing that was for me.
Awesome. Thanks for bringing that magic here. Appreciate that. Yeah. Max, say hi.
Hi, I'm Max. I'm a friend of Cory's, and he's invited me here. I'm from Utah, and I'm just excited to learn some new stuff and talk with you guys.
Right on, brother. I'm tickled that you joined us. Thanks, man, for being here.
Yeah.
Chris, why don't you say hi?
Hello.
Hi, bud.
Hi, Chris.
Yeah, I'm here in Salt Lake, Utah County, and I'm happy to be here. My heart's feeling good today, and my head's up in the clouds, but my body is here, stuck at work, so I'm taking my lunch break to soar a little bit.
Welcome. Thanks for making time for us, Chris, for sure. Gina, say hi.
Hi, everybody. I'm 17 miles outside of Sedona in northern Arizona, and I'm a vibrational pharmacist, if you will. Hanging for the moment, just spent 4 hours out in the garden because monsoons are coming in.
Yeah.
So grounding a lot lately.
I'm good.
Still trying to hydrate.
Always.
and get through these crazy wonky energies.
They're swirling right now, that's for sure. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Preston, did you want to say hi? If not, that's okay too. So, all right. Well, as we're beginning to open our circle today, I'm going to call out the 4 agreements like we always do to open our container. And what I like to do as we set our container, the place where we're going to be together today, is call an awareness to stepping out of our daily worlds, our home, our job, the things that we do, and stepping into this special space, this alchemical, sacred space that we share together. And these 4 agreements, once again, it's our co-cover. What do I want to call that? It's how we are together. So we'll read them twice, for your heart to hear it, and then for your soul to vibrate with it. And here they are. Personal material shared in our circle is for our circle. Personal material shared in our circle is for our circle. We listen to each other with curiosity and compassion, withholding judgment. We listen to each other with curiosity and compassion, withholding judgment. We ask for what we need, and we offer what we can. We ask for what we need, and we offer what we can. And the 4th is, from time to time, we will pause to regather our thoughts and focus. From time to time, we will pause to regather our thoughts and focus. And so with that, our circle is open. And so welcome everybody, and thank you for making some time on your Wednesday to spend some time here with us. And the other thing that I always like to do, just to build that bridge a little bit stronger between where we were and where we're going now, is a little bit of art and beauty. And Aubrey has found a little poem that she's going to share with us. So Aubrey, I'm passing the feather to you.
So I just did a little search for high vibrational poems, and I found a lot of cute little ones that I'm just really pleased. And I think that we should all start writing poems more often. But this one is called A Collective Thinking Collectively. Let the light in, set it out and set it in. Flowing through your veins, it is where the love reigns. Each vibration a consistency, each beat connecting you to me. Your body begins to tingle. Can we turn it up a little? And let it rain rainbow skittles, a volt, an electric shock. Upon your diamond tongue, an ancient reminder of all the songs unsung. You are I, and I am we. Turn this vibration up with me, and let it flow into the galaxy, a collective thinking collectively.
Awesome. Do we know who that's by?
I believe her name was Jude Dreams.
Jude Dreams?
Mhm.
All right. I just put that poem in the chat if anybody wanted to grab that. All right, everybody. So today, Aubrey and I, we got together a couple hours ago, and we were talking about what we wanted to talk about with you today. We did a little check-in with the universe and checked in with how we're feeling and what we're aware of. And what came up for us is a conversation around parallel lives and identity. And so Aubrey is going to take the first part of our session today and talking about parallel lives, and then I'll take the second part talking about identities and how we all carry several of them all the time. But before that, before we get going, does anybody have any needs, requests, or anything else at all? Anybody need anything? Any ahas, observations, gifts to give? Okay. All right. Well, thanks for that. Aubrey, it's all for you.
All right. So I'm going to be sharing bits and pieces from a larger class that I've taught in the past, because it has very good graphics that I can kind of use to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about here. So bear with me a little bit, because we're going to kind of skip around just a little bit. But so all of you have already heard me talk a little bit about what fractals are. And so we're going to talk just a little bit about how those relate to our thoughts and just kind of our being and who we are. So
Aubrey, would you give a quick rundown of fractals for Max?
Yes, no, I'm about to. So a fractal is an infinitely repeating pattern. And so the flower of life was the original fractal. And it can be any pattern that repeats infinitely. And so when we have a thought, it is usually from a pattern from our original soul fractal. And so over time, or just like through our experiences with other beings, with each other, we started shifting our own fractals, because your frequency is a little bit different than my frequency, and I have learned from you and you have learned from me, and pretty soon our fractals all shift. And they can be any pattern that is infinitely repeating. All of these images right here are examples of of fractals. Would any of you be interested? There is a fractal called the Mandelbrot fractal that we could zoom into and kind of look a little bit more, or do we feel like we understand fractals more or less?
Do you have it handy?
I can pull it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, let's look at it.
Okay. I'm sharing.
And repeating patterns. I love this. Some of these images right here are so beautiful.
Screen really quickly.
I know.
Okay, so this is called the Mandelbrot set. Mandelbrot is the name of the mathematician who discovered the algorithm that could visually create this fractal. But as we said, all the fractals are different. So as we zoom into this fractal, you'll see this pattern right here. It's infinitely repeating, but when you zoom in and zoom in and zoom in, then it looks like a completely different experience. And that is a really good illustration of what our souls are like. So this little part right here might be Cory, so like that part right there might be Cory, but that part right there might be Aubrey, and all of the different pieces of us are still part of a greater whole. And this will zoom infinitely. There's no end to this sequence. So that is, I know, I could just watch this for hours.
Look at.
Oh, cool. I love that.
We should put the link. We should grab the link to this and put it in the chat for our friends, Aubrey. Yeah.
Do that for sure.
That's a cool thing to have. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's our souls. That's what our souls are. We're infinitely repeating fractal patterns that shift and grow as we learn from each other and have experiences with each other. So there's also infinitely different versions of you. So in any given moment, let's say today you had a decision to make, and that decision is, what are you going to have for lunch? Because you had a decision point, that means that there are other versions of you that chose a different food item for lunch, or maybe chose to have no lunch. It kind of just depends on our greater lessons that we're learning as a soul. So our soul kind of orchestrates our existence into like through the now moment in order to kind of learn lessons and grow and experience. So it seems like that's an inconsequential choice, but it is most likely feeding a larger pattern. Your soul might have something to learn about lunch, or maybe there are other versions of you that died in a famine, and maybe there's some trauma that you had passed on from your mother around eating, or an experience that you had, or an experience you would like to have, depending on, or there's infinite possibilities of why you could be making a decision at any given moment. It doesn't have to be lunch. It could be literally just turning your head. But all of those decisions come together into a single point in your heart that I'm going to call the singularity point. So every single thought, choice, and experience your soul has ever had is accessible to you at all times, no matter what, in one singularity point. And this singularity point is in the center of infinity. It's also the center of your toroidal field. We've talked about that in past classes. And it's also the original spark of source. It's the creator creating, which we are doing right now together in this class. And it is the same actual, like when you get close enough to the singularity, it is the same in every single one of us. We are all the same being experiencing through different perspectives. So it was you created yourself. It was you all along. And so that we don't need to go further into toroidal fields unless you guys want to, but that's kind of just like a really fast rundown on what past lives of ours are, but also just different earlier versions of us. And so like 15-year-old Gina and current Gina are infinitely connected. You are the same being, just you're just over there and over here, but actually you're all accessible in the here and now.
Right. Let's open up the circle, because I mean, granted, we just got a movie trailer version of lots of things that we could spend lots of time talking about. That's a pretty big topic with lots of working parts. questions, comments, ahas, as we kind of set the stage to actually go further in our conversation today? Any questions, comments, observations, wisdoms? Anybody? You know what we're talking about? Yeah, Chris.
Yes. So Aubrey said that we go to lunch and we decide to have a hamburger, but then we decide, oh man, I should have had the chicken nuggets instead. And there's an alternate version of us somewhere that did have the chicken nuggets. Is that kind of what I'm hearing? Because I've been thinking about the idea, I think it's the Buddhist teaching that you make a decision and things happen to you exactly how they were supposed to. You were supposed to have that hamburger, not the chicken nugget. How is this different from that idea?
So it's not. I mean, if you like, it's not different because there is another version of you that did have the chicken nuggets as they were supposed to, and it's hard to fathom from a human perspective, but which is why I start this class with talking about fractals, because that other version of you is still you. It's just another part of the fractal. And so if you are the one that decided to have a hamburger, you were always going to, and you were always meant to, because that is the pathway that you are on. And so there are other versions at any other given moment that are other parts of your fractal that are playing out different sequences as they were meant to also.
So in this realm, I was supposed to have a hamburger.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Otherwise, you had a hamburger.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Questions, comments, observations? You know, because one of the things I love, my imagination runs wild with. I kind of geek out and nerd out about these ideas and what is the bridge between us here right now in 2024 Earth right now and our other realities, these other versions of ourselves. Like, how do we access and share information in that world? So as a super conscious recode coach, that's definitely one of the things that I work with. I'm saying, okay, let's build the bridge of communication between these alternate realities, our imagination, our intuition, our field of knowledge, the Akashic records, all of these different words that we've heard our mentors and heroes use in accessing this higher version of ourselves, or these informations or libraries of information about our own experience, as well as everything that we perceive or can imagine. So that's something that I find very thoughtful and very playful, especially now that I've done a lot of my own healing in my world. I'm 56, you know, and so I've done some shadow work. I've been wounded in this world in a gigantic way and made my way through it. And in the middle of some of that wounding, man, the tunnel vision comes on tight, and I can't even remember my name, let alone what's possible in the universe. You know, but then we come home, we do the healing, we take our power back, we expand, we touch source. We remember that we are creator energy, we are the universe, we are the medicine. Yeah. So that's part of what we're doing here, is understanding these bridges that we're building between our thoughts, our imagination, realities, other versions of ourselves. Anything sparking? Anything touching home? Yeah, Max.
Well, specifically on the topic of food, I don't know. I feel like before I was eating the chicken nuggets, even though I should have, you know, I was supposed to be eating the hamburger. And so I guess that, yeah, now I feel like I'm in a place that I should be, you know? Especially, I don't know, it's funny that you guys mentioned lunch, because diet was a big part of that. And that was like the tunnel vision, like you were describing, and just going down a bad road and not treating myself well. So that's my thoughts on that.
Right.
It's like always a choice. And, you know, deep down, I knew like that wasn't right for me, and as well as other things. But yeah, it's about like finding your true self and what you're supposed to be doing, right?
It feels good.
What feels right, which is different for everybody. Like that's one of my favorite things about, well, I mean, there's two things to that, but what I existence is a lot of throwing yourself out of balance on purpose in order to grow and learn what's over there. And so it's easy, especially if you are recently coming out of a choice point that you had made that didn't feel good to you. It's easy to kind of look at that and be like, I shouldn't have done that. But there is no should have, there is did or did not, and if you kind of pull your perspective out, like that fractal, if you can zoom out and kind of just like look at yourself and be like, okay, I did do that. What have I learned? It's part of our growth process. It's okay to it's okay to hurt yourself sometimes in order to learn and grow, and how much more fun is it to remember how to love yourself after experiencing what it's like to not.
Mhm. Yeah. Any other thoughts from the room? Yeah. Anything more from you, Aubrey, before we move on to who you are in this journey? Identity.
I think that is it as far as I can see. That's all. Pass the feather to you, Cory.
Well, thank you, sister. So I love this concept of identity, especially when we are working on ourselves, when we're aware of who we are and who we're wanting to become, our own growth trajectory, our own journey. And I love when I think about identity, that phrase, who do you think you are? Hands on hips, who do you think you are? We've all been said that, our teachers and our parents, when we've done something wrong. But also, who do you think you are? No matter what you think, you're right. Whatever you're thinking about your own identity, your own life, your own reality, you're right. Doesn't matter what somebody next to you, your lover, your spouse, your neighbor, whatever they think, they're right too, because we're creating our reality together. And so one of the things I love, is the power of words, and so I went into the dictionaries. I just pulled up a couple of random definitions online of identity. And these are the three that kind of resonated with kind of the journey that we're on. And so definition A for this example would be the characteristics determining who or what a person or thing is. The characteristics, there's many of them. And it makes me ask the question, well, there's expectations there. Whose expectations around identity? Whose rules are we playing by here? When we were little, we assumed our parents and our grandparents and our church and our communities expectations about who do you think you are? I'm a woman, and here's the roles that are handed to women. I'm a man, and here's the roles that are handed to men, no matter who you are as a spirit claiming your existence. And so there's some of this long list of characteristics determining what a person or thing is, identity, details. Another one is a close similarity or affinity. So like people of like mind, super personal, close to the heart. So now we're adding emotion into your identity. Ooh, that feels good. Yes, that's what I want. That's what I'm resonating with. And the opposite is, nope, that's not for me. I'm going to move away from that. That's not in resonance. That's not what I'm doing. So when we know what we don't want, we also know what we do want. Now this creates a kind of a spiritual map for us in our identity about feelings, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. And then the third definition I found for identity was a transformation that leaves an object unchanged, or we are becoming more of ourselves. A transformation, this tags our values, our core values, the essences of our true self, our true nature, and our purpose. And I love that. Our true nature is, okay, who are you and how are you in the world? And your purpose, which is the gift that only you are here to give. You may be a life coach, or you may be a service provider, or you may be a doctor, and you're standing next to somebody who has your same job, but you're all going to do it your way, with your magic, with your emotions and your history and your woundedness and your attraction and your love and your desire, making you special. So in identity, there's the simple characteristics, the details that we can see on the outside. Then there's the super personal, close to the heart, the emotions, And then we're calling in your deep values, because your values create your beliefs and your beliefs create your behaviors. So the identity is built in your values, the essences of your true self. But identity also has some triggering qualities. Like, who do you think you are, right? That kind of that negative connotation. Or who can you be? Who would you like to be? Who are you right now with us in this circle? This version of you with us in this conversation today? Who are you when you are at work with an employer in a hierarchy chain of command? Who are you in front of your parents? And who are you in front of your grandparents? And who are you at church with your friends, or when you're feeling romantic, or when you're feeling rejected? What tribe did you come from? Where do you belong? Where do you not belong? And all of that according to what or whose values. So these versions of who do we think we are, all of these stories play out in our lives every single moment. So when we're alone, feeling amazing and feeling nurtured and feeling fulfilled, that's an amazing place to be, but we don't hang out there all the time because there's other things that happen. We get wounded, we get our feelings hurt. We have work to do. We have to chop the wood, we have to carry the water, we have to survive. So where do you wish to belong? Where do you really belong? Where do you not belong? These are parts of our identities. And so how many identities are you currently aware and using every single day? These different facades or masks that we wear, right? What do you believe about yourself when you're using these masks or these facades? Like, I love the facade of at work with my employer. This version of me shows up with my smile and I'm in service and I'm here to do a job and I'm going to do it well. Behind that mask, I could be really in a different place. Like my heart could be hurting. I could be sick. I could be blown away and attracted. Can't wait to get off work because of the event I'm going to. So now we're operating different identities at the same time. So these masks that we use to face the world, they're well made and they are a chosen facade, and they help us feel confident in micro moments. They help us feel confident as a front or a face when inside we may not be confident at all. We might be terrified, frightened, fragile, hiding something. So I want to stop right there for a minute. Identities, and call in from the circle these different versions of ourselves that show up. And what I want to call, and maybe ask everybody for an example of one that you're proud of. And then I'm going to ask you to be brave and call out a version of yourself that maybe you're not so proud of. But maybe it's essential, it's necessary for safety, it's necessary to get along, it's necessary to belong. Like with our grandparents, for example. I might not tell my grandparents who my lover is, but I might tell them that I'm a tender, kind person. These kinds of things. So let's pass the feather around. Looking at your own self, your own identities, these versions or masks or facades that we use, and we all use them. Let's call some out. I'm going to encourage you all to get a little honest and get a little brave. We're in a safe container together. So like one of the ones I use, is when I'm frightened, I want to just be the nurturer and the caregiver and take care of everybody's hurt feelings because mine are hurt. I want to hide my hurt feelings by making other people feel better. And that's a mask I've used since I was a little child. And it took me a while to even understand that was a tool that I was using. And then the other side of that, there's a version of me right now that is growing the confidence to really step into the light in front of the world, to be known, fame and stardom, to stand up for what I'm doing with you now, but to do it and really give it to the world. But I was not ready to do that until this moment in my life. So there's another part of that that's new and growing, and I'm curious, and it's taking some courage and excitement, but it's also scary as hell. So there's two of mine. Aubrey, do you want to pop in?
Yeah. I've over the years, I've really learned to work with my masks, and find joy in them, because they're like, it took me getting to know myself really well to realize that I can wield my masks, in a really authentic way. But I remember what it was like to not do that, to not be wielding my masks from a place of inauthenticity. And you know, the biggest difference to me is the type of conversations that I have with other people. When I'm using a mask in an inauthentic way, the conversations I'm having are a chameleon of whatever, they're a reflection of what they're going through. And I feel like I'm just mirroring back and parroting back their reality to them, rather than letting it hit my heart and be involved in my own reality. And so over the years, as I've kind of, I actually spent a period of time tearing down all of my masks, because I realized that I was using some of them as unintentionally to manipulate other people away from my own woundings. And so I made a pact with myself to not use them anymore until I could use them responsibly again. And that, as they're coming back into my world, rebuilt, it's a very different experience. I feel like I'm much more in control of my own reality.
Oh, thank you, Aubrey. That's awesome. That's a lovely awareness. Yeah. Let's pass the feather round. Anybody want to pop in? Versions of you. Yeah, Max, come on in.
I think my worst mask would have to be pretending like everything is okay, even if there's some serious underlying problems. But in that moment, it's just easier to not face those and just keep chugging along, you know. And I got pretty good at putting up that mask at a job or with family or even some friends, you know, of acting like things are fine even though they really aren't. And you know, that can be on both sides. But probably my best mask would, I think, is similar to yours, Cory, and like I want to be in the limelight, and you know, I want to perform music and get up on the stage, even though it's scary as hell. That is still like putting on a mask and getting that confidence. Like I sang karaoke for the first time a few weeks ago, and that felt really good. So that's probably the best mask.
Sweet. Thanks for your courage and vulnerability, Max. Especially pretending things are not okay when we know what that feels like inside. It's not okay, and I have no clue what to do, and so all I can do is sugarcoat it. Yeah. I think we can all resonate with what that feels like. We've all been there. Let's pass the feather. Susie, you got some?
Yeah, so my mask is my kids. I mean, I hide myself in my kids. And I remember when my son, he's 29 now. When he was 4 or 5 years old, I remember, you know, I'd be in a crowded gathering and I would just go off with him because I didn't want to face the crowd or to you know, mingle with the crowd. And so I've really been learning to detach those cords, you know, from my kids, the unhealthy ones, and sort of step into myself. But I really like when Aubrey mentioned authenticity, because I think that's where I think I want to go. And I think that is just a magic word that, you know, would be helpful for everybody, you know. And that's sort of where I'm stepping into and where I want to go and have the confidence to do that. So thank you for that reminder, Aubrey. I really.
Yeah. So Susie, I want to ask you a question. What is one of your current masks where you are confident, you are the hero, and you show up well in that way?
Well, I've started doing some YouTube videos.
Wow. Yes. Tell me more. Tell us more.
And And I just had a meditation yesterday when, because I go into nature and I meditate when I'm out in nature. And I just had this reflection where, it doesn't really matter, that, I feel cringe or that I'm, um, that if I make a fool of myself, what matters is, the message that I'm putting through. And if it's helping even one person, then it's worth it. So for me, that's my mask. That's my going out there and, showing, even if it's one viewer. I did have one person comment the other day to the group house saying how much they loved it, then the beep, beep, beep part. And I thought, wow, one person likes our show.
Right.
Mission accomplished.
Excellent. So I want to call in a pause, just like in our agreements right now. And let's harvest the energy that Susie is experiencing by being witnessed in her confidence of making a video, of giving her gift to the world. Because this is an awesome, authentic use of a facade or a mask or an identity that we step into that serves us gigantically. So thank you, Susie, for calling that out to the world.
Love you all so much.
Love you, Sue.
Let's all take a breath together. Yeah. Chris, do you have some identities you'd like to share with us?
Honestly, I'm having a hard time with this one.
Yeah.
Because I feel my identity was tied to my religion up until 2 years ago. And just part of my journey is trying to find out what my identity is. And so I've had some ups and downs and some struggles and some triumphs. And so
yeah,
it's easy to find the good parts, right? But it's tough to identify the bad parts. And so I don't know, I'm trying to think through that right now.
Right on. Well, Chris, can I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
What about the identity of Chris the father? Speak
Chris the father.
Speak as him for a minute.
Chris the father. I have 4 kids, 3 grandkids. I love them all.
Yeah.
They love me, I think. I'm pretty sure we all have a good relationship, and I'm really, really happy and proud of all of them. So,
yeah.
So father, yeah, that's a good identity.
And now I want you to speak as Chris the curious boy. Playful, curious, free. I'm going to call out this part of you.
I don't know if I can.
Okay. I wanted to plant that seed with you today. Because Chris, there's a part of you that I know Aubrey and I together at Revival, we could see this part of you. Curious, boy at play, wonder, wander, ponder. And in our private conversations, I know that these are the tools you're playing with. I'm curious about, I'm wondering about, I'm playing. Yeah. So I want to call that forward in you. Thanks for letting me dig a little deeper with you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for pushing the buttons.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for being brave. Religion is a big shift in our human life. So that one's a big one.
I just want to punch the ground right.
Understand. Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Let's all take a breath together. Gina, you want to pop in?
You're muted.
Always forget I do that. First, I want Chris, with that energy to punch the ground, I want you to give yourself a hug with that energy right now. because you deserve it, darling. There you go. Okay. So several things have come up during all of this, and I was reading some notes that I had the other day, and someone on a podcast of with this kind of theme to it said, "What do you want the book of you to look like? What do you want to write on that page today? What were on the pages before? And what are going to be on the pages to come?" So seeing that book was a really interesting visual for me, in a way, to say, you know, what do I want on this page today? Who do I want to be? You know, and then I'm 70. I've gone through a lot of stuff through the years, but I remember at one point I was working with a healer friend, and it took about 6 months or so to get my little 3-year-old out from behind a big stone cement wall that was sort of had her contained in a corner where she felt safe. And I can't remember a lot of the specifics about it, but that visual came back to me as we were talking about all of this. And it's in that fractal view of ourselves, we can communicate with those hurt parts and also the joyous parts of us, and bring them into our lives in the now. Like, once I got that stone wall down, just giving that little girl a hug, like Chris just did with himself, is so powerful. And sometimes your adolescence needs a talking to when she's being a smart ass, or when you want to do something that you know you shouldn't do. But you know, it's like looking at the different pieces of yourself or calling on them for help. You can even call on your future self to come help guide you for what would be the best path for you to take when you're in a quandary. What is for my highest and best good? And you know, 90-year-old Gina, what would be best? Where is the best place for us to go now? So that's my participation for the day.
Love it. I love it, Gina, because that's very much what we're talking about here today. You know, is that calling in our identities. We all have several of them, many of them, and they all serve us in very designed and perfect ways, even though that perfection might show up as woundedness or pain or discomfort, so that it actually gets you out of your chair to make a change. Sometimes our discomfort or our woundedness is our spirit saying, hey, opportunity to grow again. There's an opportunity to change what you used to do into what you get to do next. You know, so these versions of ourselves, you know, and calling in like your own inner child, your own 3-year-old, for example, or calling in the elder version of you, the Cory the old man, Cory the child, Cory the adolescent, Cory the young adult, all versions of me, like maybe one version of Cory for every decade of 100 years. And I can have a little self-family reunion to say, hey, where is my vitality right now? What am I afraid of? What's keeping me from giving my gift? What am I scared of? What hurts? And at the same time, turn that coin over What feels good? What's my attraction? Where am I being guided? Where is it easy? You know, these versions of ourselves, we get to have a conversation with these versions of ourselves. Sometimes we can do that by a meditation, or we can do it with some guided hypnotherapy or superconscious recode, or these kinds of tools are available to us, often with help from someone else, being guided on a journey. You know, it was beautiful work, really beautiful work. You know, but I want to call in just a little bit. I don't want to, this is another topic that could be gigantic, but I want to mention it here in the realm of identities, are the self-sabotaging identities, the identities that keep us stuck, the identities that keep us from chasing the light, from expansion, from touching source, to being the best of us. And I've got them whittled down here into a few of these things, and I think we'll all recognize our dance with every one of these as a tool in our life. And quickly, these self-sabotaging identities are: I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm insignificant, I don't belong, I'm not capable, I have to be perfect, I don't deserve it, and I'm not safe. Once again, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm insignificant, I don't belong, I'm not capable, I have to be perfect, I don't deserve it, and I'm not safe. And when we are thinking those thoughts at the identity level, that is who I am. Then we move in the world as our values and our beliefs and our behaviors. When you're not worthy, you don't go for what you love, right? And if I do enough good, I'll get what I want. So I do good, I do good, I do good, I do good, but I'm still not worthy. And that's a core wound with the feminine, or maybe the mother's line, maternal line. I'm not good enough, is you have to prove that you are enough. And you do that all day long, rather than to just go for what you love. Because you have to fix something first. I'm insignificant. That means you're not being seen, you're overlooked, and you spend all day trying to be seen. You're going for being seen more than chasing what you love, which means you're not making goals and you're not trying. I don't belong, it's a misfit. It means you're searching for your tribe and you're wanting to belong and you're scared of judgment. You're trying to find your place. And you're obsessed with finding love, therefore you never receive love. I don't have capacity. I'm not capable. I don't have enough time, money, or skill. And when I have this, then I'll have that. Once again, pushing the dreams until tomorrow. There's always something to do first. I have to have more before I can. The wound of I have to be perfect is method-oriented, strategies, structures, plans, and maps. And you never risk failure because you cannot do it wrong. So that means you never finish anything. I don't deserve it. Always trying to earn a passage, always getting permission, always playing by somebody else's rules. And then I'm not safe, where you're in a constant state of defense. And you lose all your resources defending yourself. And the gift, the magic, the elixir, the good news about all of these sabotaging identities is that they are not true. They are flat out 100% not true. Because when you remember who you are and you touch source and you engage with your heart, how could you possibly not be worthy? How could you possibly not be good enough? You are so significant. Of course you belong. You are capable to dream gigantically and manifest miracles, and you are perfect in your imperfections, and you deserve as far as your imagination can take you, and you are safe. So I wanted to call in that little elixir, because we all use the sabotaging identities when we're afraid. And fear is proof of ignorance. Fear, false evidence appearing real. When we're afraid, we stop in our tracks and we don't move forward. Then we ask our spirit, connected to source says, well, okay, well, why don't I have it all? Because we're having a human experience. And our human says, well, comparison, the Joneses have it, I don't have it. The grass is always greener, they're rich, they have a lover, they have the money, they have the job, why don't I? Then we ask the trick question, why don't I? Well, I must not be worth it. I must not deserve it. We go into the sabotaging identities as tools. Our intellect uses the sabotaging identities as tools to justify why our spirit doesn't have it all. And then we remember that we are spirit, we are the medicine, we rise above, we come home again. And that's when we step into our creatorship. We take our power back. We are the universe. We are God energy, source, universal energy. So I wanted to call that in a little bit today, because every single human learns these tools. The tools of sabotage, the tools of self-limitation, the tools of scarcity, so that we can unlearn them. We can remember who we are and take our power back. So we've got about 10 minutes left. And so I want to stop right there. Once again, let's pass the feather around. Where did you see yourself in our story today? What touched you today? What's the gift you're taking away today? Anybody want to pop in?
I really liked talking about the words I am. A lot of the energy work that I do and a lot of just the self work that I do is noticing where I'm using the words I am tired, I am hungry, you know, and what do I put after that? And because we really do, our words really do affect us a great deal. And I feel like if we notice what presence that we're carrying in ourselves, you can notice. Sometimes you learn a lot through the words that you say. You might say something without even realizing that you're saying it. And another good example of that is if I'm ever say something is better than or worse than, if I'm comparing things in that way, that is a really good indicator that I have an idea of how things should be. And as we said earlier, there is no such thing as should, there is or is not. So what is so what am I doing? So thank you for sharing that, Cory.
Yeah, thank you, Aubrey. I am is known as the name of God. Right? I am. Whatever comes after that is true. Identity. How do you think about yourself? Who do you think you are? I am ... Whatever you say is true. So let's choose our words carefully, enlightenedly. Yeah. Max, hi.
That just made me think about like the importance of words, and people often say things like, oh, this is killing me, or I hate this, you know, this vitriol and really just extreme speech. And those words do matter, kind of like I am, you know, it's about like taking charge and where your mind is at, where you are spiritually, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It just made me think of that.
Nice share. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. All right, let's pass the feather. Who's next? Susie, hi.
Right. So when you were talking about unworthiness, I'm a classic case of that. But I am working through it, right? And so I have this little thing that I am telling myself very often, and I'll share it with you. And if it helps you, then great. So it's about having the willingness and the self-confidence to put yourself out there in uncomfortable situations or positions over and over again, regardless of failing. So, you know, because when you're moving out of the worthiness piece, you got to move into the confidence piece, right? And you have to believe it within yourself and then walk it. So that's what I'm pouring into me, and hopefully I can reflect that out and make a difference.
Well, and it shows that you're doing the work of it, because when we're not worthy, we don't go for what we love, because we try to be enough instead, right? And so here you are, Susie. I love it that you're in the energy of your confidence. You're busting through worthy by claiming confidence. You know, good on you. Welcome home. Welcome home. Because you are absolutely worthy. Chris or Gina, you want to pop in? Last thoughts. What touched your heart today?
I think for me, stop sabotage and have some courage to face uncomfortable, hard things and just work through it, man. Just stop making excuses.
Go for what you love.
Yeah, go for what you love. Yeah. That sabotage was good. I needed to hear that.
Yeah. The self-sabotaging identities are excuses why we stop chasing our dreams. We give our power away. So you take your power back. Thanks, Chris. Gina, you got some thoughts for us?
I'm mostly being distracted because I have a mouse running around in my living room right now. I can't draw it in. So I don't know how that fits into all of this, but I had to share.
Right on.
It's being very blatant and just kind of wandering around the living room. But no, I'm learning to step into my power more and more. I'm doing the YouTube videos with Susie and Aubrey and another lovely woman, Arlene, who might come to one of these sessions with us, so you can all meet her. And it's giving all of us a lot more confidence in who we are and where the world is going as we help with that guidance.
Yeah.
So it's a fascinating journey to really step out and be seen.
Yeah.
I felt most of my life that like I needed, my powers needed to be hidden because of all the darkness around, and I couldn't let my light shine because it would be taken down. So now I'm learning to let it out. It's very fun.
Me too, sister. Me too. Well,
And Chris, I'm just having so much fun watching you. Let it become the butterfly from your chrysalis.
Oh, if you only knew.
But I can see it. It's okay. I don't need to know the details, but it's wonderful to watch.
Well, thank you.
So identities, everybody. Like, I want to send us away today with who are you? Who would you like to be? The new facade, the new version of you. And maybe it is a paper-thin, paper-mache mask at first. This new realm of confidence, the new mom, the leader, the presenter, the dad, the creator, the teacher, the hero, the musician, the helper, the healer. And maybe it is a paper-thin, paper-mache mask at first, because it's lightweight. If it breaks, you can fix it. You can change it, always. But there's confidence in the mask. That the version of you that is in the light, the version of you that you show the world is chosen, and it's useful, and it's well placed, And that protects that other part of you that is vulnerable and awake and sensitive. Those are all good things at the same time. So I encourage us to move away from today thinking about this new version of you. Who are you healing into now? Who are you claiming, this new version of you? And sometimes we're aware of an old version of us that no longer fits. Like Chris mentioned, stepping away from a lifetime of religion, and that's a role and a big impact, and it's generational. And so maybe there's a clarity that might be too clear of what you're moving away from. And maybe it's not clear enough yet of where you're going. So maybe there's some dream work to do. Because a strong no is also a strong yes, but maybe we need to do some dream work to harvest the details of these new identities, these new versions of ourselves that are useful, these quantum realities of ourselves that in meditation we could jump into and say, hey, that version of Cory that's a millionaire, what do I need to know in my life here? That version of me that's in love, what do I need to know now? That version of me that's hungry now for something I don't have, go find the version of you that has it and share some information, ask some great questions, go for a walk in your cosmic space. So that's my encouragement. My wish for you this week is to dream up these versions of yourself and then take them for a walk. Ask them some questions, invite them for tea, spend some time with them, share some information together. Yeah. All right, well, we're at the end of the hour, everybody. It's again, spending Wednesdays, coming together, touching this space, reminding us of who we really are at the very center of ourselves, claiming our imagination, our intuition, our creativity, the very best parts of ourselves, and engaging those tools every day, and every breath we take, and every thought we think. Any last thoughts, Aubrey?
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us this week. The energy here this week was really, really lovely. And I can tell that everybody here is doing their own internal work and self-reflecting and using what they've learned to go out and grow more and shift. And I'm just really happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. Aubrey and I are here for you guys. You can reach out to us. We'd love to have a couple calls. Chris, it's been great to talk to you a couple times this week. Thanks for reaching out. Appreciate that.
Of course, thank you.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, more time with you all. You know, we are more powerful together than we'll ever be standing apart. So with that, let's wrap it up for today. Yeah.